Good morning to all of you. I'm 𝐩𝐫𝐞𝐝 Conti, editor-in-chief of the Journal of Anesthesia, Analgesia, and Critical Care, the official journal of the Italian Society of Anesthesia and Intensive Care Medicine. It is today my great pleasure to discuss with you the paper that was probably most downloaded from our first issues, entitled COVID-19 ICU Mortality Prediction, a Machine Learning Approach using Superlearner Algorithm. I do not need to explain why it is important, but discussing this topic in this moment, I would just introduce the two PIs of this interesting study, Professor Paolo Navalesi, full professor of anesthesia and intensive care medicine from the University of Padua, and Professor Dario Gregori, director of the Biostatistics, Epidemiology, and Public Health Department, always at the University of Padua. Paolo, I will start with you. Could you explain us why you designed this study? What was the main goal? Why did you decide to do it?
Yes, of course. Well, we had the chance in the region of Veneto to collect nearly all the patients admitted to ICU for COVID-19 disease. And from this large database, we were puzzled by the idea to being able, even retrospectively, to define what were the criteria leading to poor outcome. Hoping this was more speculative than really important for the future, but we were sort of, we remained kind of unclear after 2 years of pandemics about the factors that were related to a poor outcome. And Dario will explain he used a pretty sophisticated approach, and all of them showed that the major determinant of poor outcome is mortality, of course, was actually patient age, much more than comorbidities, much more than severity of the initial disease, which was, from my perspective, quite surprising, as we know that in many studies, we have received the information, the notion that age is per se not a factor strongly related to mortality. So it was kind of surprising. Worth remarking, by the way, we also asked a colleague from Milan to test our database, also with data from outside our region, but I'm sure Dario will explain you the principles. And it is important to remark that these results do not mean at all that we select or do not select a patient for ICU admission based on the age. But we are aware that age is the major determinant of problematic, so to speak, outcome.
Thank you, Paolo. It's very interesting. And concerning Professor Gregori, I would like to ask, one of the most interesting aspects of this study was the use of Superlearner algorithm. Could you briefly explain to our average readers that are probably not experts in this field, what is the machine learning approach, and what are the possible advantages linked to its use?
Thank you. If you think about the clinical research over the past 30 years, from my point of view, that means from statistical and methodological point of view, you realize that most of the predictive tools has been developed using basically two classes of models: logistic regression and the popular Cox proportional hazard regression. And nowadays, most of the scoring that are used also in the clinical practice and anesthesia too are based on those models. What are the drawbacks of those models? Well, first, they are very limited in terms of the functional form, mathematical. You have to superimpose a functional form to get the prediction, to use all the information you get. You may get from the data. And second, they are really sensible to the availability of information, that means data. So machine learning comes into this picture to overcome these kind of limitations. Machine learning is a very heterogeneous set of techniques. It goes from very basic logistic regression can be also taught as a very naive form of machine learning. But of course, on the other side, you have neural networks, you have random forests, you have support vector machines, which are really sophisticated approaches. The idea is that with those models, you can think and take into account in your model for very fine interactions among variables. That means you can profile very small and very fine set of clinical aspects and some clinical profiles. And of course, machine learning can be exploited as well, can be improved. And we use a super learner approach, which is actually a little bit above the normal machine learning, because it combines we use about 20 techniques that are all of them combined in a super learner that use the best information, the best prediction of each single model for the single patient. And then it combines this prediction.
Thank you. Thank you. Which were the limitation of your study? I see the strong points. Which were the limitations?
Well, the limitation, I think, are related to a very traditional limitation. Let me tell you this. The first is that you can think that machine learning can solve every single problem in building a model which is useful for making clinical predictions. But this is not true. It relies on data. As Paolo said just a few minutes ago, this study was based on very strong set of data. The entire Veneto region cooperated with this respect. We use data from a different region to validate, but still we need more data to build the better models. So the need for fostering cooperative research is really something that it was a need a few years ago, but it's still an important need now, also with the machine learning techniques.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Navallesi. Thank you, Professor 𝐦𝐵𝐽. It's very, very interesting. And thank you to all the patrons for the interest. Thank you very much.